Hey everybody, it's Master Galengeist here, bringing you my review of DC Nation Issue 0. And this was a pretty interesting read. It did a good job of doing 3 separate stories that kind of were teasing into some big things that are going to be happening coming in the summer. So the first one dealt with the Joker breaking into a man's house to wait for his invitation to Batman's wedding. And this really just got a real good hook on what makes the Joker just crazy. His kind of propensity to joke and also kill people at random because he's like chaos personified. So he's just sitting in there bugging the shit out of this dude, and he of course at one point takes the Joker's gun and tries to shoot him, but it's only a trick one at that point. They wait and wait and wait, and eventually the mail does arrive, and the Joker's like, I was invited, yay! And then proceeds to kill him, and we find out that the letter was not from Batman, it was for the man's daughter, for the school. And you're like, dude, Batman's wedding was going to be in a crazy-ass event anyway, but now we're just going to be on the lookout to see what the Joker's going to be doing to it. And this just had a great take on the Joker and also doing some weird-ass facial expressions for him. Like, okay. The next story we get into is a Superman story, which is doing kind of splitting up between his time as Superman and Clark Kent. Clark Kent comes into the Daily Planet, and Perry's like, tell me you got something. He's like, yeah, we got ex-U.S. Army and ex-government officials trying to sell LexCorp stuff. Old LexCorp tech and all that kind of jazz. So he's going, I kind of infiltrated it in Costa Rica, and then Superman comes in and takes it all down, and I got everything, so let me just write off all this stuff. Of course, White offers him Lois's office, because evidently she has gone to write a book and left. I was like, okay, granted, I'm not that versed with what exactly is going on with Superman's family at the moment, but that was kind of a shocker for me. I'm like, okay. Perry then kind of shrugs off Clark's, going like, I don't want her office, and introduces Ms. Good. And she's evidently working her way up. She did an expose on Star Labs, and she introduces herself to Clark and says she wants to kind of have lunch with him and pick his brain and all that. Of course, he then has to go into White's office because White's saying, hey, this is like a police blotter. I need you to put more of yourself in it. Like, all right, cool. He then goes up to the roof and goes into Superman and kind of like clears his head a little bit while Good tried to kind of go up and see what's going on. We then get an interesting scene where she is in this kind of club and everything, talking to this guy, and he goes, you know what, by like Wednesday, I'll own this place. I'm like, well, what is her angle? Whenever I see someone with like an interesting kind of name like Good, I'm thinking, what's your angle? And even though that seems like a big kind of thing, I don't know if it's exactly bad or not. We'll have to wait to see how that plays out. The last story deals with what's going on with the Justice League. And we see Batman and his team, and at first because they're on the planet Clue, because they need to infiltrate Brainiac's planet and all that. And it's like, okay. And as we're getting through the issue, we see Batman explaining it more, Superman explaining, and Wonder Woman, and lastly Cyborg, that they had breached the source wall, and that there's some bad crap coming. Bad shit coming. That evidently there's these beings called the Omega Titans, and that they're coming to this cloud planet first. And that's what they're trying to stop. And they've split up into teams of like Entropy, Mystery, Wisdom, and Wonder. 4 elemental kind of energies. I'm like, that's interesting. And seeing we got Batman with like Lobo and Lex Luthor. We've got like Sinestro with Superman. We've got Beast Boy with Batman as well. We've got Cyborg with his group with like Flash and Harley Quinn and all that. It's a really interesting mix of different teams and all different kinds of power sets, which I gotta hand it to them. They did a good job of kind of parsing out different kind of heavy hitters for different kind of situations. Well, their plan is kind of working because Cyborg had to like hack the certain core of the planet and all that. But then we get to see the Green Arrow and Supergirl are trying to protect Earth, and we see the Omega Titans are. They're not the Omega Titans. They're at least emissaries or whatnot, or above Earth. It's like, oh god. So I had seen that they were doing stuff. I'm like, what are they doing with this Justice League kind of thing? That's like a lot of different kind of teams. What's going on? So this is an interesting premise, and I really have to give props to the story for doing a very effective introduction to it, which I would almost say that if you're going to be following Justice League and what's going on in DC, you kind of really need this. I mean, it's probably been set up in other ones, but this just effectively showcases the teams, who's on the teams, why they're on these teams, just very effectively, efficiently, and with some kick-ass artwork and everything. So I think they did a good job of just teasing out what's going on in the summer with these 3 stories, and I think there's going to be pretty good events going on for DC. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.